Republican Senator Josh Hawley took illegal campaign contributions from the National Rifle Association, as did Republican Senators Ron Johnson, Tom Cotton, and Tom Tillis, according to a lawsuit filed by the gun safety organization founded by former Democratic Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, who was wounded badly and almost killed by a mass murderer who opened fire in a parking lot where she was speaking 10 years ago. Our next guest, NPR Washington investigative correspondent Tim Mack, has been covering the National Rifle Association for years. His new book is Misfire: Inside the Downfall of the NRA. Tim Mack writes, quote, "In the dark wake of the shootings at Sandy Hook, the NRA made a strategic choice to double down. It took part in negotiations over the Manchin-Toomey universal background check bill, only to withdraw at the last minute and mobilize NRA supporters against the legislation. In the aftermath, it marched into the conservative culture war. It shifted further to the right, embracing Republicans entirely and abandoning even the pretense of outreach to Democrats. This would work for a time during the Obama years, but a crash was coming. The NRA's decline started with its greatest success, the election of President Donald Trump." And joining us now is Tim Mack, Washington investigative correspondent for NPR and author of the new book, Misfire: Inside the Downfall of the NRA. And Tim, I hope you heard Rachel Maddow say at the beginning of this hour she is eager to read your book. She was reporting on this lawsuit that I just referred to during her hour tonight. Let's talk about, first of all, the state of the NRA and where is it in its downfall?
You know, the NRA is facing its most serious crisis it's ever faced. It's facing a revolt from some of its members, protests from members of its own board of directors, a serious financial crisis. I mean, in Misfire, I outlined that in 2018, it almost didn't make payroll. That's a serious, serious problem. And then the New York Attorney General, which has investigated the National Rifle Association, has found tens of millions of dollars in misspending and misconduct inside the organization and is right now in court trying to dissolve the NRA entirely. It's a serious existential threat.
And how much of this was Wayne LaPierre buying the custom-made suits in Los Angeles that we all read about in those expense documents that came out, that was obviously misspending within that organization? How much more was going on?
Well, Misfire brings color to all of that and takes you behind the scenes, describes some of these characters in real detail. The thing about the NRA is that it's kind of a black box, but I've been able to kind of pull the curtain back. The whole book starts with a scene at Wayne LaPierre's wedding in the late 90s, and he doesn't show up for it. The thing is that Wayne didn't really want to get married. His best man slaps a $100 bill on the dashboard and says, "Hey, I don't think you should get married today either." But he does go inside, and he gets kind of harangued into the wedding to Susan LaPierre. Ultimately, it's a very weird and interesting moment. And it tells us something about Wayne LaPierre and the problems that the NRA is facing now, both legally and financially. Powerful people inside the NRA have realized that if you harass Wayne long enough or yell at Wayne LaPierre long enough, he's eventually going to approve millions of dollars in contracts for sweetheart deals for contractors working for the NRA or former executives who get golden parachutes. So many of the problems from inside the NRA stem from Wayne LaPierre and his personality, which we outline in Misfire.
How did all of that contribute to what we're reading about in this lawsuit, which seemed to be an established pattern of illegal campaign contributions to Republicans?
Well, it's just the latest allegation. In Misfire, we talk about millions and millions of dollars in spending on private jets, lavish meals, exotic vacations to the Bahamas, Lake Como in Italy, in six figures in Italian menswear at a boutique on Rodeo Drive for Wayne LaPierre. I mean, it's just tons of color in some of the personalities and the stories, but what's been happening inside the National Rifle Association as it declined. Misfire is based on more than 120 interviews with people inside the NRA universe and orbit, and thousands of pages that I've obtained of secret depositions, internal NRA emails, and private documents from inside the organization.